It's hard to believe, but believe it we must. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to tell you that Deadpool and Wolverine has a budget that is absolutely obscene. And you are going to know exactly what we mean if you watch this video. What if we told you that this movie needs to make $1 billion in order to break even? Folks, we've been here before. Disney, what are you doing? Have you lost your ever-loving minds? Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel, the place where we take you on a journey of understanding entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve, because it turns out that if you understand entertainment, then you know where the culture will be going very soon. That's why we do it, folks. We think it matters, and we think that you matter as well. If you think this video is worth your time, click the like button and let's dive right in with a panel who's ready to tell you what this movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, cost and what it means they have to recoup at the box office. And boy, oh boy, is it a number that we never anticipated. Good grief, Disney, get a hold of yourselves and your purse strings.
I don't know if you guys know this. Disney is generally known as a family company.
Yes.
They're kind of known for kiddie films and that are G-rated. And generally speaking, you know, the harshest they'll try to get in their kids' films up until about 2018 or so is there was that scene in Toy Story where they all decide to face their oblivion together. Well, now the biggest
I was
film
gonna say
from
lately
Disney,
though, they've been trying to teach you how to be a lesbian. I thought.
yeah, that's very true. They need that to happen so much that they're waiting for parents to get out of the room so that they can have some nice quiet time with your kids. But this story out of the Hollywood Reporter. Deadpool and Wolverine first day ticket sales set an R-rated record and climbed to $8 to $9 million. There's some additional context we'll be adding here because there's a great story from That Park Place, as John Trent always loves to bring additional clarity here. This right now puts this above Guardians of the Galaxy and what else? The Batman, which I know the Batman didn't do that.
Yeah,
well,
it's not as much as Spider-Man, but it is the biggest R-rated record, which I think I predicted that, which isn't a big deal. I mean, it's R-rated. So before this, it had been what, maybe Joker?
Yeah,
but it's still Joker at the box office. See, that's the thing. Will it? That's the big question. Because Joker had legs.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, Joker had legs, so like that played for months and months and months. In this world, can a movie play for months and months and months?
Well, that's I don't part of the question. The other question is, how front-loaded will this be? Because Marvel films have become extremely front-loaded. They've become sort of an event for the last remaining Marvel fans, then they just die after, the second week. That's what's killed movies like the Marvels. That's what's killed movies like Shang-Chi, etc., where they don't have the staying power they once had. You're exactly right, Tom. And Deadpool and Wolverine, although you have to say, if you're Disney, this is the news you would rather have than any other news. It's a great take for pre-sales for an R-rated movie, but as Jonas was alluding to, it's not necessarily fantastic if you're talking about more broadly just anything. So let me open this up to the panel then. And
shall I say it's not fantastic for Disney?
Let me open this up to you guys and ask, do you believe that Deadpool should have had maybe a PG-13 version alongside the R-rated film so that it would have had more broad audience appeal?
Well, if I can go first, since I got to head out anyway. No. And I'm not even sure if they can. See, there's this thing I've been trying to figure it out for a while where it used to be you could do this thing, but like after the Clue movie and a few other things that happened in theaters, I think they made a rule that you couldn't have two versions of the same movie in theaters at the same time. Like that was like, because also like they want, because and this, I think this happened during the Showgirls era because they wanted to do, like Verhoeven would like refuse to do an R-rated cut, and the studio was freaking out because the theaters wouldn't carry anything but an R-rated cut. So I think they tried to compromise, but like the MPA or something like that came in between it and said, no, you can't have two different versions because it gets confusing. And what if somebody goes into the wrong screening, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they did do the PG-13 version of Deadpool already, of Deadpool 2, and it flopped horribly. Nobody went to see it, even with additional footage. So on that note, no, I don't think Deadpool, I don't think it works. I think you'll completely turn off the fans if you do that.
What's the top line for this then, Tom? What's the apex they can hope for?
Here's the thing with Deadpool. It is an anomaly. It is not, you can't count it like an MCU film. You can't look at it that way because it's even outside of the X-Men universe, which it actually takes place in, right? It is its own thing. There are people who like Deadpool who don't even like superhero movies. I'm hearing a feedback on myself. Sorry. I think that this movie has a ceiling that we don't know yet. It all depends on how good the movie is. It's going to have a very big opening. Like, this is one thing I've noticed since yesterday is I'll check into the pre-sales of movies all the time. I have not seen a movie pre-sale like this since Spider-Man. So that is good news for Disney in that respect. But I think you guys got a point. Like, does this movie have legs? Like I said, too, in this world where they don't allow movies to sit in theaters for very long. I mean, even movies like Dune, despite the fact that it's on streaming already on video on demand, it's still playing in theaters. See, that's one time where the audience is going, no, we want to go see this on the big screen. But is Deadpool going to demand that? It's not exactly Avengers. It's, Joker was a kind of anomaly, and that also came out in a different world. We got to remember that came out in a world where movies still sat in theaters for at least 3 to 4 months. And now that's not the case anymore after COVID. So where are we at with this? This is the thing. I have a feeling at the end of the day, my prediction is if the movie's good, I'll hedge it with that. This could be the biggest R-rated film of all time. Disney needs that. And for Disney, if they could turn around and say, not only we are a family company, but we have the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, that is something that they would love to have in their cap as far as a feather goes.
What a funny world where Disney wants the highest grossing R-rated movie. I mean,
Well, I'm not saying they want that necessarily, but just the fact that they can say that, like, that's one of those things where if it was old school Disney, I'd be like, go for it. Good for them, right? That's what you bought Fox for.
Yeah, but
so, one thing. Go ahead.
Never mind. Nothing. Go ahead.
the thing I'll point out here. Yeah, I'd rather hear what you have to say, Mike.
I was gonna say, but from a branding standpoint, let it be Fox and let it be a Fox thing. But why would Disney as a company that from a branding? Look, I'm asking this question from a branding standpoint as the dad of an 11-year-old. I don't want to see a news release that Disney as a company is excited and promoting that it's going to have the #1 R-rated movie of all time. What the hell is this?
No, I agree with you totally. And that's where I said that, Mike, that this is a mistake on their behalf. They should be running with it like they're Fox, like from day one.
What did we buy?
They bought Fox. Exactly. When they bought Fox, they should have just let it keep going the way it was and then just adjusted things as they went along. They should have left it as its own entity, soaked up whatever IPs they wanted, deal, with the Star Wars and X-Men stuff. Fine. But at that point, let Fox do its thing. They had talent behind there. They were making money. The reason the people sold out was because what's-his-face, Murdoch's getting older to friggin' hills, and he wants to get out while the getting's good because he saw the writing on the wall that, everything.
I don't know, Tom. He's like Warren Buffett. He never ages, apparently.
Well, that's all the baby feet. Well, I'm not going to say the word, but you know what I'm saying.
That went places real fast.
Yeah, but no, Mikey's 100% right. What I was saying though is in a let's just say in a hypothetical situation, had Disney not screwed their brand, right? Because I brought this up many times before. Disney used to be when you say, oh, it was Disneyfied, they'd be like, oh, that means it's been sanitized. It's going to be very kid friendly and family friendly. But now if you say it's been Disneyfied, that means somebody's possibly going to get, and not only that, it's probably going to be a dude doing it. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. We are at a point now where Disney itself is almost practically R-rated. So Mike's right. This could have been a point where they could have tried to deviate again and go, okay, we need to put all this political, whatever nonsense over here under Fox, under the R-rated banner, under the Fox Searchlight banner, to where it's, stuff for the indie market, and stick with what we do best over here at Disney, and that is keep everything safe. There's a reason those boundaries were put in place by Disney. He may have seemed like somewhat of a tyrant, but he knew what the heck he was doing. And Lasseter was his next incarnation as far as I'm concerned. He knew what you could and couldn't do with these things. He knew the type of quality and level of quality that you had to put out. And regardless if it was as, cookie cutter as could be and as sanitized as can be, that didn't matter. Why? Because parents would just, this whole channel exists for the simple fact that Disney used to be a brand that you could go to the theater and know you were going to get your entertainment value out of it, and your kids weren't going to get some sort of thing on the screen they weren't supposed to see or hear, right? Like that was what Disney at least could guarantee you back in the day, and you can't anymore. With this being, though, is like if they were sitting in a board meeting and somebody was giving them crap for that, they could say, yeah, we are Disney, but guess what? We also got Fox over here where we got the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. Now what? Unfortunately, they're so sullied on the other side of things anymore. That is not going to be anything for them, right? Like that's the sad part of this whole thing.
Fantastic analysis.
Up on the screen.
Please, please, please.
Yeah, I do have to run here soon, but yeah, I'm curious what else you guys think about this before I do run. Yeah.
No, Tom, I'm so glad to hear everything that you just said. This tweet from Scott Guston, who's one of those guys that knows a little too much about Disney before it happens. But I look at this logo right here at the top, and it says Disney, and there are things that I wouldn't say on a stream that are on this list right here. They are throwing everything they can at the idea that they are a fully functional film studio, and they want it all to be associated with Disney because they're trying to turn Disney into an empty vessel that they can just put anything. They want it to be synonymous with entertainment rather than synonymous with family entertainment right here. Deadpool, Alien Romulus, this film from Searchlight that I'm not going to say the name of. It's just,
what sticks out to me,
there's a world at which this is what Touchstone was for. So go ahead, Tom.
No, I just want to say the only thing that stands out to me is that there's only 3 original projects on that entire board.
That's a good point.
Every else is
4. I'm sorry, 4, maybe 4 or 5 at the most. Okay, because you got Kinds of Kindness. I don't know what that is, so that must be something. A Real Pain, Night Beep, which isn't even a Disney movie. That's a Fox
Nocturnal movie. Pooch. That's what we're calling that.
Yeah, okay. That works for me. And then you got Untitled Disney. That could very well be something original. We don't know yet. We're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt, though. The Amateur, I don't know what that is. Elio, which is something that I know they've been trying to work on forever. Otherwise, nothing else is original. It's either a sequel, prequel, remake, spin-off.
And this is all going to 2026. So
exactly.
Yeah,
like none of these.
Nothing.
This is why the stock's doing what it's doing. There's no hope.
It used to be the reverse. You might have 3 or 4 sequels, prequels, or remakes, and then the rest was more original material.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to Jonathan real quick. Jonathan, what do you think about the current position of Disney? And if Deadpool breaks $1 billion, do you think it's even worth it if it's damaging the brand?
Yeah, well, Disney kind of reminds me of Apple in the 90s. I'm kind of dating myself here. But when they had a guy come in and start throwing all this stuff out, right? We got new tablets and like these crappy computers and all this sort of stuff, so many SKUs. And then they had a guy come in and say, no, get rid of this and this and this because it's not part of the brand. They need that to come in and start excising all these things, at least spinning them off as smaller, like sub companies, things like that. The interesting thing about Deadpool and Wolverine to me is that it's actually got 2 movie stars, and none of the other Marvel movies recently have had that. We can go back to Spider-Man.
They hate that it's 2 white guys that are.
That's true.
They hate it, Jonathan.
It was in production, so they couldn't say no anymore. And for me, I'm like, we watched the original X-Men movies with my kids, the first 2 recently, and they're all 13 and under, and I'm like, they want to see this one. I'm like, yeah, no, sorry guys, it's.
Oh, you stopped them at 3. Good man.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to 3 yet, so eventually. But yeah. I think it'll do better. I just think that there's too much headwinds after COVID for it to really, hit 700 million like it did for the first 2. It's a hard run, but for Disney as a brand, I think it's a stupid idea to put it under Disney. Like, don't show it on Disney Plus. Most of all, like at least they spun off. I don't know, things like X-Files, and that's on Hulu now.
Oh no! Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are like the big tiles on the platform right now to try to promote Deadpool and Wolverine.
I don't have.
By the way, 40% of the audience out there says that Deadpool and Wolverine will break $1 billion. 59% say no way. And if it doesn't break $1 billion, it will not take away the Joker's place at the top of the R-rated mountain. So,
the first Deadpool movie cost something like $75 million. It was dirt cheap to make and made $781 million at the box office. The second one cost more like 125, 150. What was it, Tom?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. How much is this one?
This one, I think it's The second one was 110. I'm seeing now. This one, they're saying 250 publicly.
Jeez! Well, that's probably because of all this stuff. Yeah.
Before.
Well, how much did it cost to bring Hugh back?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got.
That's a good point, Nolan. No, Nolan's made a great point. They had to wrap all that stuff, all the sets and everything during the strike. You know, I mean, none of that was cheap to come back.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that added price to it. Well, and the thing that they learned about Deadpool was, as much as they like to brag about how much they kept the budget down on the first one and all that business, they got sued afterwards. People forget about that because they didn't pay their special effects people. And the movie ended up costing them close to what the second movie cost, but it didn't matter because it was peanuts because of how much money that made. But the second movie showed you how much the bare minimum you could spend on one of these movies is, basically. And in this movie, why they spent that much other than the strikes and all that stuff, I don't understand. Maybe the paydays for all the cameos and people that are in this movie, that could be. But they better hope this thing makes $1 billion if that's how much they spent on this. Holy crap. What? That's got to be the most expensive R-rated film of all time.
And folks, we have come to the end yet again, but fret not yet, for more content is on the way 3 times daily right here on the WDW Pro Channel. Also, check out our sister channel, That Park Place, and you'll have a good time, as well as At That Pod Place, which we just started. Vash Sky doing a wonderful job over there with great shows, great channels, and you'll have a good time. Folks, we bid you adieu for now. But until then, keep learning, keep growing, and you know what? Keep having fun.